in a story that rocked Spokane. A second teenager admitted today his role in the murder of World War II veteran Shorty Belton. Good evening. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Nadine Woodward. The 88-year-old was beaten to death during a strong-armed robbery in August of 2013. One teen already serving 20 years in prison, and today, Demetrius Glenn pleaded guilty as well. KXLY4's Jeff Humphrey working for you tonight, and Jeff, Glenn's defense attorney wanted to take this case to trial.
And that's because he thinks Demetrius Glenn was a bit player in this robbery gone bad, that Glenn is not the young man who inflicted the fatal blows. But in the end, the 17-year-old didn't want to take a chance on what could have been a life sentence and accepted the plea agreement.
Mr. Glenn is before the court with his attorney, Christian Phelps, state's represented by Mark Sapola. There's going to be a plea to count one, Your Honor.
It was a last-minute plea agreement that didn't come together until the first day of what was supposed to be Demetrius Glenn's trial. Glenn is one of two Spokane teens who jumped Shorty Belton in his car while the 88-year-old was parked outside the Eagles ice arena.
He had been beaten. He was bleeding. Police were called. Mr. Belton was taken to the hospital where he succumbed to his injuries.
From the very beginning, Glenn appeared to be the less guilty of the two suspects. While Glenn surrendered himself, police had to track down his co-defendant, and when they did, Keenan Kennard had already confessed to the killing in this letter. That's why prosecutors are asking for a 16-year sentence instead of the 20 they got for Kennard.
The recommendation is proffered based upon the new case law in Miller, but also the facts of this case. This defendant is not in the same position as Mr. Kennard.
Defense attorney Chris Phelps thought he could show a jury that Glenn was only guilty of robbing Belton, but the 17-year-old went ahead with a plea in the hopes of a much lesser sentence.
That they're going to ask that the court sentence you to 16 years of imprisonment, credit for any time that you've already served on this, that they would dismiss the other charges.
So Nadine, Glenn is now scheduled to be sentenced on March 19th. You should know that even though it doesn't appear that Glenn was the guy beating on Belton, he was still charged with murder. And that's because of Washington's felony murder rule, which says if someone dies, even unintentionally, while you're committing a felony, you're going to be charged with murder. And that is exactly what happened to Mr. Glenn. Jeff Humphrey, KXLY4.